if you ask me the question, I'm giving you right now. Anything more than 3 rounds of interviews is ridiculous.
You got to think about like the time in between too, because some of these companies take forever to respond, right? Because some of them just even ghost you.
Right, 100%.
What's going on, Tech family? It is Just My Tech Sense, and I am Will Does Tech, and I am joined by my co-host,
Johnnie Tech. What up, Tech fam?
Johnnie Tech. And we are Just My Tech Sense, where we talk tech and finance. And today, we're going to be talking about one of the things that's going around on the internet, and it has to do with interviews, and namely tech interviews, right? These rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds of interviews. And it's tiring, right? And it's like, when is enough, right? I mean, that is a question that a lot of people have. It's a question that I have. But I'm interested in your opinion on when enough is enough, man.
I had the same question. Why? Like, why? I mean, if you ask me the question, I'm giving you right now. Anything more than 3 rounds of interviews is ridiculous.
Okay.
Just flat out. I'm like, come on, man, make your decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything more than 3 rounds of interviews, I'm like, okay, what are you trying to get? Are you just? It's almost as if you're just looking to find a reason to disqualify. Like, you want them to make a mistake, or you can't. It's like, you ask your wife, what do you want to eat? Just let me.
Oh boy.
let me know, man.
Right.
make your mind up.
Right. Yeah. I don't. So I think 4. I think 4 rounds to include the pre-screen is enough, right? I feel like, you have your pre-screen, right, to just make sure that you are qualified for the job, and then you have your technical screen, and then, maybe you have the hiring manager or the cultural fit, for that one, and then at the same time, you're not the only person that's being hired, right? So it's like, out of that, right, once you've squeezed, like you put all the applicants through this process. Maybe, right, you have 5 candidates that are worthy of this job, right? And then, that 4th one, maybe everybody has to do a presentation of how they would handle some kind of situation, right? So that 4th one should be, we have our top 10, our top 5, and now we are going to put them head to head, though they don't know it,
right? And
we're going to say, whoever comes out on top wins, right? But I think once you get past, 4 rounds, and then you got to think about like the time in between too, because some of these companies take forever to respond, right? Because some of them just even ghost you,
right? 100%.
And it's like you are studying, right? If you're that kind of person, you're studying, you're prepping for the interviews each and every time,
right?
You put in work, and then you don't hear anything back for weeks,
right?
And you're like, man, how'd I do,
right?
And then you hear from 2 weeks later, and it's like, oh, I moved on.
Right. I've actually read reports where they're saying like the average time, the average recruitment time, which is this interview process, was like almost 44 days. Like, imagine, you're in you're up for this job.
Right.
If you're not working, that's even worse. 44 days is a long time, waiting on a paycheck.
Right.
So then if you're also doing other interviews in between that, and then you don't get that job, another process 44 days.
Right.
It's 88 days. Like, it's a long time without working, and then you want to interview me 4 times and tell me I don't have a job.
Right.
I mean,
right.
That's nerve wracking. I can see how people would be fed up. Like especially if the process is taking this long. If it's gonna take this many days, you need to be interviewing me.
Yeah.
2-3 interviews a week if you're doing that many. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I think to play devil's advocate, to be on the side of the employer, right? One, hiring is expensive. On processing or onboarding is expensive. So now, if you draw out the time, right, that's just more manpower that you're putting towards it. So again, that's kind of self-induced as far as that goes for the company. But I think they want to make sure, right, if everything is on the up and up, right, and they're actually putting this job out there for everybody to compete against. They don't have somebody internally that they're going to hire, but they actually are putting this job out there for anybody to get. If it's like that, they want to hire the best candidate. So they want to make sure right? And I think, again, some of these rounds are ways to do that, so long as they're serious about it and that they do kind of meet these, time commitments. Like, yeah, I mean, get back to a brother within 3 or 4 days or a week, but you start talking about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like, you forget what what job you applied for.
But I'm saying that's if you have to interview someone, even you're saying 4 rounds, I'm saying 3. If you have to interview someone that many times, let's say it's just a week apart, that's still 4 weeks to decide whether or not they want to hire you or not.
I got it. That's a month.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not the 44 days, but that's still, even that is a long time in itself.
It's okay. There's due diligence, right? Because there's a lot of people that make some stuff up.
But the pressure should not be on the candidate. The pressure should be on their team in the recruitment process. So if you're
why does it have to be? They're in control.
Exactly. So they
they make the rules.
So they do make the rules. It's their life. It's their job. That's how it is.
And that's life
for candidates. But
it sucks.
It's going to backfire on them because candidates. You got a great candidate here. You
gonna take the job. They give you the job.
Yeah, but if I'm getting interviewed over here and they hire me, I can't wait 2 more interviews. I'm accepting this. So now you lost out on a good candidate because you can't pull the trigger.
You got a number 2 and number 3, right? If you're really doing this right, you have a pool of candidates, and you're like, okay, I ranked them. Here's 1, 2, and 3. If one falls through, I got the alternate.
So you're number 1. If he's falling through, because you're let's see one more time if he can do this. Yep. And he's going over here to Microsoft now.
Right.
Yeah,
you missed out. Exactly. You missed out. Right. Then you go to your alternate. If your alternate feels the same way, you go to your contingent.
You still got 2 more rounds of interviews to go though.
I hear what you're saying. But again, at the end of the day, they're in control.
No, for sure.
At this point. At other points, they weren't in control. Mm-hmm. They needed anybody they could get, right? And right now, they just it's just what it is. So it's not fair. It's not right. At the same time, it is what it is, and you have to accept that and just go with it. And again, you have to make sure that, okay, you're not just waiting on company A. Mm-hmm. You need to be interviewing with company B, C, D, E, right? Just to make sure that, again, you're waiting 2 weeks for them, but you have other companies that are lined up.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. I'm not, you said 4, I said 3, so we're not way off. But the way my head process, I have the pre-screen, which I don't count the pre-screen as, that's like a third party.
Okay.
But once you're dealing directly with that company, that to me counts. So if I'm speaking to a recruiter, they're asking me what I can do, and I'm telling them my skills. I feel like that's part of the interview, and then you move me on to whoever the hiring manager is for like a skill set or a personality match to see if I fit the team.
Yeah.
And then once I do that, I feel like a technical interview should be all technical, but technical interview and the personality match could be in the same interview. But if you have to split it, I'll take that as well.
Yeah.
But then once I get to any other interview with like upper management, that should be getting ready to negotiate with me at some point. Like
maybe if you're the only person, But again, like the pre-screen, if they can say, nah, he's not a good fit, okay, then you don't move forward, right? That is an interview. They call or they Zoom or Teams or whatever, and they say, hey, tell me about yourself.
Right.
Are you a good fit? Okay, nope, this person's not a good fit. Okay, you're eliminated, right? So again, that's part of the interview process, and maybe it's not to you.
Yeah, I mean,
either way, right.
But I say because it's third party, they're looking to get you hired. The recruiters they kind of more.
Okay.
It's a little bit more split, but yeah.
Yeah, I can. Okay. I get your point of that. But, so, again, they continue to expand, and I think, again, just the pool of candidates, all the applicants, if they're taking the job seriously, and they got thousands of applicants, it's going to take time to go through.
I definitely hear what you're saying. Like, I still think it's excessive, but my thing is like, okay, like you said the main thing is they're in control. Mm-hmm. So as a candidate, what do you do to, help yourself stand out? Or how do you interact? Yeah,
there's a couple of things that you can do, right? I think the biggest thing is you have to brand yourself. Branding will make them come to you, right? Like if you have a presence on social, whether it's LinkedIn, IG, YouTube, you have become the subject matter expert that people know and companies want to hire. Right. They're going to you, right? They're like, we don't even need to go through rounds.
Right.
We know what you're about. We like you. Come on board, right? So that's one way. The other way is networking, right? Growing your network, and a part of that also comes from branding, but referrals, right? You skip the line.
Yep.
Right. When you get referrals, that is like what is it? Skip or go, whatever is on Monopoly, right?
Yeah.
Collect $200, right? Go to whatever, go home, whatever it is, right?
You got the wrong one. I think you're talking about go to jail, but maybe talking about
either way.
Snakes and ladders, man. Just you going up, man. But I get your analogy. Yeah. What you mean. Right.
It wasn't an analogy. It wasn't thought out. But
it's all good.
Either way, you skip the line, right?
Right.
It's like a Disney fast pass, right?
Right. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So you get that fast pass, and you might have a couple of rounds, but it's different.
Right.
And so again, just building your network by going to different conventions, talking to people, whether it's local meetings, and things like that.
No, I definitely can agree with you there. Like building your brand. I know people like building your brand, but I think it's like that could be. I guess that could be like in your LinkedIn presence or just what other people are saying about you. So they're saying like, hey, we're getting a credible person here. Like, from what your peers think about you as well. So having a great professional profile. And then you said with the referrals that they get, they already have things vouching for you. So even if you're involved in your community or anything like that, I think that might be helpful if that's seen by these companies. So that's a big thing. Like people might not understand what you say about branding, but I get it. And I think that's like a big portion that people could be missing out on. They're like, I got all the technical skills here. I know how to do the job. They're like, but we don't know you. Yeah,
nobody knows who you are.
Exactly.
So again, you can be the best, the best defensive hacker, cyber defender, whatever.
Right.
But if people don't know who you are. Okay.
Right. And I had some small things you can do, but like this what you're saying I definitely like more as far as like cuz it's what you can do as a whole. Like my thing is like you got to make sure cuz what you're saying, that can help you before you even get the interview. Like what I'm saying is like okay, just kind of trying to make try to bend the process to your will. So if you do your pre-screen or each time you speak to them, send them a thank you email, tell them like you appreciate the the conversation, kind of reiterate some things that you like to dislike and to get more information there. I would even ask for feedback from the recruiter if it's as far as like, especially if you went to a third party, like, hey, what are they saying? What are some things that I can go over? You can ask those questions to them. The recruiter can give you some feedback, some things that you might be able to do better. So once you move to the next round, you kind of have a direction to go in with the, you can kind of somewhat lead the conversation and show, the skills that you have. So those are some of the things I would look at. As well as like I think you already mentioned it, but don't stop your job search. Like you said, It's a long time. So you not stopping your job search gives you leverage that you can try to use in a positive way, right? Like, hey, I'm really interested in a position, but this company here, they're looking to offer me. I've had 2 interviews here, and that could weed you out. I know, like it's not really a bluff, but it's just saying, like, hey, like unless like if we want this guy, we might need to move the process further along. So whatever leverage you have, you have to find a way to use it. So
good point.
That's definitely something that I would try to do, but do it in a somewhat respectful manner. You don't just throw it like, man, I got 5 interviews over here. Like let me know, like nah. Like don't do that. But hey, maybe it'll work for you. I wouldn't do it, but right. But definitely, whatever leverage you have, try to use it to your advantage. Yeah. So those are some things that came to my mind.
Yeah, that's legit. I think also to make you a better candidate, you got to look at negotiations, right? Like whatever you can do to swing it, to weigh in your favor, you need to try and do that, right? Like there are plenty of people that are on YouTube or on social media right now that are talking about, hey, 6 figures this, 7 figures that. Please believe a lot of them are not making 6 figures, right? And if they are, it's probably in the low 6 figures. So it's okay to, want 5 figures, especially for an entry-level position, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. Like for an entry-level position, it's okay. Don't assume that like you got to ask for $100,000 off the rip. Right. Like that's not, it's not realistic, So don't buy into the hype. Like understand the industry, understand the market, understand where you actually fall when it comes to the skills that you provide and what the market is willing to pay for it. Right. But if you are dead set on, I got to make $150,000, and they're like, okay, we're not going with you. Right. That might have been it. Yeah, that could have been that might have been the thing that that crushed your.
And you're not telling people to like undersell themselves, but you're just saying like, hey, you know, if this is an opportunity that you really, really want, you have to look at it, and if it's something that you can take you where you want to go further, look at it that way. Like, don't, you know, I don't even know the metaphor I want to use for that, but basically, like, you know, don't try to get it all in one bite. We'll pause
that ain't it. that ain't it. So we that ain't it. So we're gonna move on to my next point. That ain't it. So we're gonna move on to the next point.
All right.
My next point. My next point is kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness, right? Yeah. If you actually went through the process and it was a good process, a smooth process, provide that feedback to the company. You good?
That was a bad one. All right, let's go. I'm ready. On my bad.
Provide that feedback to the company. Let them know, again, whether or not you got the job, that it was a good process. If you really feel like it was a good process, and I'd say record it, right? Everybody's sending emails. Maybe you write a letter. Do something different to stand out. And send it to the CEO, right? I mean, what else? What can you lose at this point? You didn't get the job, right? That's going to make the CEO say, who is this?
Right.
And why are they sending me this video? And why didn't they get the job? Because 9 times out of 10, they ain't heard about you.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, do something. Some would say it's extreme. I don't find it that extreme, but do something that would make you stand out. And then, you know, during these interviews, smile. Right, because I think smiling is contagious. Right. So it's like you do that, and you start to make the people that are interviewing you, you make them feel good.
Right.
And it's like, actually, I don't know why I feel good, but I left this interview and I'm all smiles. Right. And again, it's just like, you know, a yawn. Right. You yawn, somebody else starts yawning. It's like, again, it's just contagious and infectious. So
yeah, I know people are talking about energy, so you putting out that good energy in the interview to where like, hey. They think about your interview like, oh, positive, positive thoughts. So like that definitely could be a boost, you know.
Right. That ain't gonna stop the rounds.
Right.
But maybe it will stop the rounds. Maybe it's only 4 rounds because they're like, you know what, we like this person. We got a good sense about this person.
Because we're telling them, you know, ways to make the process better for them. But do you consider multiple rounds? Like, let's say if someone's like, if you're getting called for a 3rd, 4th, 5th interview, is that a good sign or a bad sign as a candidate?
I think it's a good sign.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign.
So, like, and I understand because like they say they're in control. You never really know. But in my mind, I'm starting to, you know, I'm like, man, to me personally, I'm like, I told you everything I know already. Like the first 40 minutes we talked. Yeah. So like how much more information can I give? You know, but
that's when you got to look into it, right? It's like what are they digging for? Right. I think that'd be the question that I have to myself is what are they digging for? Who else am I competing against that they're trying to like say, okay, you are the best candidate, right? Based on, man, these people are so close, you know, and we feel like this person, but we also really like this person. Let's just do another interview. Maybe it's only 2 of you guys and girls that are actually doing the interview. So I think it's good once you get past the interview, and so long as it's an actual job rec and they can hire against it, and it's meaningful, I think it's good. I mean, I think, again, I am not for rounds and rounds of interviews at all. But I do understand from a business standpoint, trying to make sure that you do your due diligence and choose the right candidate in order to fill the position that, again, like onboarding it's hard, it's time consuming, and it's costly.
Right.
So you hire the wrong person, again, you got to start it all over again.
Yeah. But if you let your number 1 candidates go, then there's the issue. But like we want to go back and forth on the same thing. But I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm, you know, I guess because I've had those experiences where I've interviewed multiple times. I've had a time where like they've discussed salary with me. They've discussed like, hey, this is when you get your bonus, and then they're like, oh, we want to do 1 more round of interview. I'm like, all right, well that must just be the finalizer. Like, we went with somebody else. I'm like, okay, that's crazy. But I mean, that's, you know, that's life, and
and my experience has been different.
Right? I may be jaded towards it, like, hey man, I did 4 interviews. Y'all haven't made your mind up yet. But
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah,
I just think the biggest point to take away is like what you said though. Do your branding, make your that's how you're gonna set yourself above everybody else.
Yeah.
Just do all the things throughout the interview process to where maybe they will cut down on some of the rounds, like because they can make kind of force their hand like, hey, I'm the guy,
Right.
So I think that's definitely good advice that you were able to express to the people.
Yeah, if you don't want to compete in this market, brand.
Yep.
Period. If you want to set the conditions, you want to set the rules, you want to get paid what you want to get paid, brand.
Yep.
Become that guy, become that gal.
Build that name.
Right.
Like,
right.
Look,
and they will come to you and they will say, what's your price?
Right, exactly. What's my guy? Was it Caleb Williams, NFL? He's like, I don't have to go to the combine. He already had the name. He didn't have to prove. He's like, they bringing him in.
Yeah.
Off the film that he's already done. So it's like, we don't need to see you in the combine. We don't need to see any of that, So
yeah.
You're right. You're right about that for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, that's just my tech sense. I'm Johnny Tech.
I'm Will Does Tech.
Have a good one.
Make sure y'all subscribe.
Oh yeah, do that too.
We look forward to hearing from y'all. All that good. Look, we still early in the process, so we're still trying to figure this out. But yeah, do all those things.
Yep.
All right, now we'll talk to y'all.